Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today, we're stepping into what I like to call a modern fable. It's a story that perfectly captures this massive collision we're seeing right now between cutting-edge artificial intelligence and, well, deeply rooted human experience. It really forces us to look at the systems we're so eager to build and the people we sometimes, unfortunately, overlook.
Right off the bat, we're faced with the ultimate question of the modern workplace, aren't we? As tech just absolutely skyrockets, we find ourselves constantly asking, can a machine ever truly replace decades of human experience? Okay, let's dive right into this and explore exactly how this dynamic plays out at a fictional but honestly incredibly relatable company.
To really get this story, we've got to look at the stark contrast in our setting. On one hand, you have Novatech Solutions. Their headquarters, it's basically a sparkling, automated fortress. We're talking robot floor cleaners, AI scheduling every single meeting, and smart lights that automatically adjust to the weather outside. The employees literally boast that their office runs purely on artificial intelligence. But right in the middle of all this gleaming, futuristic tech is Raghav. He's an elderly security guard who's protected this exact building for 28 years. And he doesn't just scan badges. No, he knows every employee by face. He knows who gets in early, who works late, and who chronically forgets their ID on Monday mornings. He even possesses highly specific knowledge, like exactly which air conditioner makes a weird rattling noise when the rainy season hits.
Now, what's really interesting is the mindset of the younger staff here. While Raghav is definitely respected, he's basically viewed as a relic from another era. You've got this younger generation of employees whispering, that soon everything is going to be automated anyway. They see the march of tech as this unstoppable force that'll naturally just overwrite the need for a traditional, analog guard. And Raghav? He doesn't argue. He just smiles and keeps wishing everyone a good morning. Well, that brings us to the inciting incident of our story. One Monday, the CEO gathers the whole company in the auditorium for a massive announcement. They are rolling out Sentinel AI, which is billed as literally the most advanced security system on the market. I mean, the feature list reads straight out of a sci-fi novel: facial recognition, motion detection, license plate scanning, weapon detection, and even predictive threat analysis, meaning it actually tries to stop crimes before they even happen. It's designed to be this cold, calculating, and absolutely flawless guardian of the Novatech headquarters.
And the company's faith in this new system? It is absolute. The presenter stands up on stage and boldly declares, Sentinel AI is more accurate than any human guard. That statement just kind of hangs in the air, and naturally everyone's eyes dart right over to Raghav. A few people even joke that his retirement has finally arrived. But Raghav isn't intimidated at all. He actually leans in and asks the technicians how the system learns and detects suspicious behavior. Their confident response? It learns everything.
For those first few weeks, the system absolutely seems to vindicate management's supreme confidence. Sentinel AI performs flawlessly. It catches delivery drivers trying to sneak in through the wrong gate, strictly reminds people to wear their IDs, and even flags an unattended backpack that someone accidentally left behind. The company newsletter proudly declares that the future of security is officially here. Meanwhile, Raghav's role just shrinks. He's relegated to basically just greeting visitors, leaving a lot of folks wondering why he's even still on the payroll.
But here's the thing. Technology is truly tested not on a sunny Tuesday afternoon, but when conditions are at their absolute worst. Let's shift the scene. It's late evening. Dark clouds have rolled in, dumping a heavy, relentless rain all across the city. Most of the staff have rushed home, leaving just a handful of software engineers working late on a critical project. By midnight, this sprawling, glass-walled office is almost completely silent.
Suddenly, that silence is completely shattered. Every single phone in the security department buzzes at the exact same time. The AI screens flash red with this terrifying message. Alert. Multiple unidentified individuals detected. Restricted area accessed. Threat probability high. The cameras have locked on to 6 figures wearing helmets and carrying large toolboxes. The machine has classified them as unknown intruders, and absolute panic sets in immediately.
Just watch this rapid, terrifying escalation. The AI flags the threat, which instantly triggers red flashing lights throughout the entire building. The heavy emergency doors start prepping for a total lockdown. The system is literally seconds away from dispatching automatic messages to the police. Down in the control room, a junior security officer named Vikram is in a complete state of panic. He's shouting that they've broken in, that they have equipment, and his finger is quite literally hovering over the manual emergency lockdown button. And right at the absolute peak of this chaotic, flashing, high-stakes moment, Raghav walks into the control room.
completely calm, holding a warm cup of tea. He doesn't look at the flashing red warning text. He totally ignores the high-probability threat meters. He bypasses the panic entirely and just looks carefully at the camera feeds showing the people themselves. He takes a sip, smiles, and quietly tells Vikram to wait.
And this brilliantly illustrates the massive difference between raw data and actual wisdom. Where the AI just saw a blob of pixels representing a high-level threat, Rogoff sees human beings. He notices that the tallest man walks with a very distinct, slight limp. He sees that the shorter man has a habit of scratching his beard before he speaks. And he recognizes the specific blue helmet worn by the woman. She works for Brightspark Electrical, which is the exact team that replaced Novatech's generators the previous year.
Vikram is stunned. I mean, how does Raghav know this, and why on earth aren't they registered in the system? Well, this is where human memory and context come into play. Raghav thinks back and remembers a totally casual, undocumented conversation he had earlier that afternoon. The facilities manager had mentioned just in passing that the electrical maintenance was being postponed to tonight specifically because of the heavy rain.
Raghav immediately acts on this context. He calls the sleeping facilities manager, who wakes up in a panic, realizing his massive oversight in forgetting to update the security system. He confirms, yes, those are indeed their maintenance contractors here to fix the backup power system. In seconds, the lockdown is safely aborted, the crisis is instantly diffused. If Raghav hadn't been there, the police would have stormed the building, innocent contractors would have been treated as criminals, and a massive client presentation the very next day would have been completely ruined.
Let's break down exactly why this happened. Sentinel AI actually functioned exactly as it was programmed to. It knew what people looked like, in a very literal, data-driven sense, and it correctly identified that these faces were not in its database. But Raghava possessed something entirely different. He knew who they were. He had the historical context, the conversational updates, and those nuanced observational skills that let him see the reality of the situation way beyond the raw data.
The next day, the story spreads like wildfire. The CEO personally brings Raghav into the conference room to apologize, admitting that they wrongly believed technology could just completely replace experience. But Raghav, in his wisdom, doesn't gloat at all. He actually points out that the cameras weren't wrong. They followed their programming perfectly by flagging unrecognized individuals. Instead, he drops this crucial truth bomb. The mistake wasn't the AI. The mistake was believing it could understand everything.
That realization sparks a totally new framework for the company. Novatech changes its entire strategy, completely abandoning the idea of replacing their guards. Instead, they pivot to a really powerful hybrid model. First, they let the AI do what it does best, continuously monitor and detect unusual events with tireless precision. Second, they rely on experienced humans to review those alerts and make the final, context-heavy decisions. And third, they realize that by working together, they get the absolute best results.
Months later, Novatech boasts one of the most effective security systems in the entire country. And right at the center of it is still Raghav, greeting people, remembering birthdays, and noticing when an employee looks just a little bit stressed out. Technology is undeniably powerful, absolutely, but it's human experience that gives it true direction. Data can be processed, sure, but as we've seen today, wisdom cannot be programmed. So, as we integrate more and more artificial intelligence into our own daily lives and workplaces, we have to ask ourselves, are we letting the machine make the final call, or are we making sure there is always a Raghav in the room to give the data its human meaning?